Hey, what's up everybody, Nexel here. Today we're playing Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and we are going to talk about Supernova ++ Key R25. Now this is a viewer request video and I'd like to encourage everyone, if you have any questions or if you want me to make a specific video about a certain aspect of the game, definitely feel free to leave me a comment below or give me a message on Discord and I'll see if I could fit it into my schedule. Again, my schedule's kind of tight, so it's difficult to make these extra videos, but if it's something that's worth talking about, I'll try my best to make a video for it, and this is one of those videos because a lot of people have asked questions about Key R25. So let's go ahead and start by talking about the stats. So Key R25 is a tier 10 upright magic medal with a base strength of 44,011. Now this is about 1,000 strength less than our current standard, but really we have to think about this all in the context of it's a free medal. You can literally get it for free and not need to spend a single jewel in order to get it. So having 1,000 strength less than our standard is pretty okay, considering that you're also getting free trait medals, and that means free chances to roll strength plus 1,000. So that's an okay strength to have for a free medal. He has a base defense of 16,591, which isn't anything special. He's got a pretty wide multiplier, being as low as 15.64, which is absolutely awful. We have tier 9s that have a higher multiplier than Key R25. But on the other hand, when he is hitting his maximum multiplier, it's 20.44, which is actually higher than the multiplier of some of the illustrated Kingdom Hearts 3 medals that are out right now. So that is a pretty decent high end for a multiplier. He has a gauge cost of 2, which is pretty good because that's very cheap to activate, and likely you'll be able to activate it every single time you come to this medal. Even with extra attack and without something like attack boost 13 max SP gauge 0 or a SP reduction skill, that's still only 4 gauges consumed, and literally one activation of Kingdom Hearts 3 Nominate takes care of that. If you're still using Kingdom Hearts 3 Kyrie A, it takes care of that and more, so that's pretty good. He does 8 hits, and when it comes to this medal, if we look at the effects of the special attack, it does affect count. So if you're fighting a blue counter enemy and you activate Key R25 once, that's -8 to the count, and that's pretty hefty. With extra attack, that's -16, and that's a lot. Now, a lot of the high-end enemies, a lot of the harder enemies have a blue hit counter of anywhere between like 10 to 20. Now, to be able to shave off 16 of those with Key R25 can help if you're using something like recovery buffing. You need to get knocked out before the end of your turn so that you keep all your buffs. But on the flip side, if it's a counterattack that hits you with a status ailment, or it just knocks you out and you have no way of recovering and you just miss out on damage from the rest of your setup, that can hurt you quite a bit. So just keep that in mind. Those 8 hits do affect count, and for blue hit counter enemies, this can be very, very hard to play around. Now, looking at the special attack, it is going to be 1-turn buffs and debuffs, and he is self-buffing for upright power, speed, and magic. And that's quite a hefty utility kit to have for a free medal. Again, that's the big thing. This is a free medal and it's got a lot of stuff loaded into it. So what this means for this medal is that you could put it on the second slot, even if it's off slot. So for example, Sleeping Lion or Fenrir, and then you can still get buffs for all the medals downstream that come after Key R25. This isn't as relevant as it was before, mainly because a lot of the newest medals are self-buffing. They take care of the general, and then if they're upright and speed, for example, they will take care of their upright and their speed buffs and debuffs. So Key R25's buffing isn't really the best for those upright power speed magic buffs. Really, the big thing that's going to make it a decent buffer, a decent free buffer at that, is the all medals plus 8,000 strength. Remember, it being all medals means that it doesn't matter if the medal that comes after is power, speed, magic, upright, reverse, it's still going to get that plus 8,000 medal strength, and that makes it pretty versatile and good to use if you're missing quite a few extra medals. With extra attack, we're looking at plus 16,000 for all medals after. If you're copying this medal, that's even more strength to all medals that come after it, and that's a pretty good deal for a free medal. He does give special attack bonus plus 220%, which isn't as relevant because we have Supernova attacks that give us 320%. And in terms of effects, the damage plus condition is 1 enemy or 0 parts left. That means if you are fighting multiple enemies, you're looking at that 15.64 multiplier, which isn't very good. But if you're fighting one enemy, for example, an Organization 13 challenge, or you knocked out all the parts on a raid enemy, you're hitting a 20.44 multiplier, which is actually pretty sweet. Now, in terms of the Supernova Attack, the buff is a little bit better, being able to self-buff not only for upright power, speed, and magic, just like the special attack, but this will also buff general strength and general defense debuffing, which is pretty good. Again, these generally tend to be the hardest ones to fill out for people, and it's not as much of a problem as it was in the past, but it's still a good, decent set of buffs to have. On top of that, the Supernova Attack gives all metals plus 12,000. Again, affecting all metals is a really big deal because that means it doesn't matter what comes after it, they're still going to get a buff, and that's amazing. It does give special attack bonus plus 320%, which is pretty impressive for a free metal, which normally gives a special attack bonus of like 300%. So the fact that it's on par with a lot of our most recent tier 10s being 320% is pretty sweet. In terms of effects of the Supernova Attack, there's nothing really going on. So the real question that a lot of people have been asking is, what do I do with KR25? What do I make it? And really, this is going to depend on your specific setups and your specific inventory, because KR25 being a free metal that potentially comes with a bunch of free traits means that you can make it whatever you want. If your raid setup is lacking, you can make KR25 a raid metal. If you are lacking in PvE content, so you don't have a lot of enemies that have that ground, aerial, and extra attack, potentially just ground and aerial because this metal does affect count, but if you don't have a lot of those metals that have that minus 60% defense, put this and give this the minus 60% for ground and aerial enemy defense, and you can still use it that way. So free metals in general, you can make them whatever you want, but it really should be based around what you need. If you're not passing PvE content, definitely aim for that ground, aerial, strength, potentially extra attack if you can manage the count better. If you need the raids, if you don't have any raid metals whatsoever, just keep rolling until you have damage in raids 200%. That's a lot of extra damage going to raids. If you want to make this for PvP, then maybe just make it something like, I don't know, defense plus 10,000. Really, this metal should be traded around what you need in your setup. And for a lot of veteran players, it's a free raid metal. For a lot of newer players, it's a free metal that you can use for PvE content. So this metal should be traded based on what you need. Now, another question that I've been getting is, Nexel, I've pulled like 87 times, but I have no copies of KR25. So, of course, me, being the math person that I am, has to do the math, and here is your math. So, the number on the left is the pull number, and it's assuming that you did a 10 pull. It's really only worth it to do the 10 pull because that's when you get the free traits. So, if you do one 10 pull, there's about a 5% chance, or 1 every 20 people is going to get KR25 on the first go. Not speaking towards my personal experience or anything like that, but let's say you do 20 pulls. There's a 65.04% chance that you'll get KR25. So what that means is roughly about 3 out of 10 people are not going to have KR25 by that 20th pull. Let's just say you did 45 pulls, or you got 450 free metals right there. So after 45 10 pulls, 1 out of every 10 people will still not have KR25. So I've seen, again, people pull like 30 times, 45 times, 52 times. They still don't have KR25. Keep that in mind that this is technically a non-mercy banner, meaning you can pull forever and not get the metal that you want. Even at 100 pulls, there's still a 0.52% chance that you have not gotten a single copy of KR25. And remember, there are like 1 million plus players playing this game. To say that there isn't one person out there who's done 100 pulls and hasn't gotten KR25 isn't exactly unbelievable. So just keep that in mind. Your odds of getting KR25 increase with the number of pulls that you do, and this is your odds of getting just 1 KR25. This is not the odds of you getting like 5 by your 30th pull. This is the chances of you getting just 1. So keep that in mind. You can do the math. Again, the odds per metal, so every single metal that shows up in that pool, there's a 0.52415% chance. So this is what that math is all based out of. Again, you can pull forever and potentially not get a single KR25. I think I'm personally in that 10 to 15 range, and I only have 1 copy of KR25. So you just got to keep pulling. Again, it's a free metal, meaning that you can do whatever you want with it. If you don't get it, you're not missing out on too much, but it's a free metal. Free metals are good, and you can use the traits and make it whatever type of metal you want. But with that being said, that's the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer when I have the time. If you'd like to join my Discord, get some additional help, the link is right below the screen. Just type that into your URL and you should be good to go. There's a lot of experienced players in the Discord if you have questions, so even if I can't get to it, likely someone in that Discord is able to help you out. But with that being said, that's all for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, until next time, take it easy.